Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So if you are new here or you missed the video, I recently announced that I've written a murder mystery novel coming out in September called Murder at the House on the Hill. And I mentioned that I'd been inspired by some cozy crime TV shows, and a few of you messaged me or left comments to talk about your favourites and to ask me for some more recommendations. So I thought it'd be fun to make a video just sharing my favourite cozy murder mystery TV shows with you guys. We've done a few like movie recommendation videos on this channel, but I haven't done a TV one before, so I'm really excited because I love a good cozy TV show. You know, I love all things cozy, love a good murder mystery. So yeah, I'm excited to share my favourites with you guys today. I was going to say grab a hot drink and get cozy, but it's really hot and muggy in the UK, so maybe just curl up and get comfy, and I really hope you enjoy my picks today. So I've watched a lot of murder mysteries and I really love a lot of them. So it's very hard to narrow this down, but I've narrowed it down to 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks today, because these are like my absolute favourites. It's a random number, isn't it? But I couldn't narrow it down to 5. I just couldn't. So just quickly, when I'm talking about cozy murder mysteries, generally the definition is that it's an amateur detective. So it's not a police procedural kind of show. It's an amateur detective. It's usually set in a lovely location, quintessentially British. It has got murder in it, but everything is very wholesome and cozy. They always solve the crime. There's always kind of a happy ending at the end of the episodes, and you really fall for the characters. They are as much of the show as the actual kind of murder plot. So that's what I'm talking about when I talk about cozy crime, in case you say, oh, I've missed all these murder mystery shows. But that's deliberate because they don't fall into my definition of cozy. There's one kind of one that is the sort of exception, so I hope you'll allow that. I will talk about that when we get there. But let's kick off with number 1, and that is Shakespeare and Hathaway. So Shakespeare and Hathaway is a brilliant cozy mystery show. So actually not all the episodes are murders in this show. They sometimes investigate other things, but it's always better when they investigate a murder, in my opinion. This show is made by BBC. It's actually shown, I think, on weekday lunchtimes, but it's all on BBC iPlayer, which you can stream all the 3 series on there, and I assume you can get it on BritBox, which is what you pay for with BBC and ITV shows. And it's set in Stratford-upon-Avon, and it starts with a hairdresser who goes to see a private investigator to ask him to look into her fiance. She's just about to get married, but she's not sure if she trusts him or not. And the private investigator used to be a police officer, and essentially they start working together, and they also have an assistant who wants to be an actor, and the 3 of them together have just like a really great chemistry. Everybody in the show is kind of named after a Shakespearean character, which is really fun, and there's lots of kind of in Shakespeare kind of jokes, and it's set obviously in Stratford-upon-Avon, where Shakespeare came from. So that is lots of fun. It kind of adds an extra element to the kind of murder mystery and the crime solving, and the police are hopeless, and they always think that Shakespeare and Hathaway are wrong, but they are always right, and that's what we like about cozy crime. So it's very light-hearted, it's very fun. Shakespeare and Hathaway are always eating cakes, which we like, and the assistant Sebastian is just hilarious. And yeah, it's just a really good light-hearted show. So if you haven't watched it, definitely watch Shakespeare and Hathaway. So next up is Jonathan Creek. I have absolutely loved Jonathan Creek for years. I think it started in the late 90s, around 1997. Again, it's a BBC show, but they did have episodes also on Netflix as well as iPlayer. So have a look around if you haven't watched it. So I think they've made about 5 series plus a few specials of it. It stars Alan Davis. And when it starts, Jonathan Creek lives in a windmill, and he works for a magician. Does anything get more crazier and cozy crime-esque than that? I don't think so. And he meets a journalist who becomes his kind of sidekick as they solve murder mysteries. The main thing about Jonathan Creek is they love a locked room mystery. So because he works for a magician, he's used to coming up with tricks and contraptions to kind of make all the tricks work. So he uses that kind of part of his brain to solve locked room mysteries. So that's always really interesting. They're always very kind of, well, I guess far-fetched, to be honest. Very kind of, the murderers like really put a lot of thought and effort into hiding their crimes, but Jonathan always cracks the case. So yeah, I mean, it's not realistic, but cozy crime just is not realistic. And I just love the character of Jonathan. I think Alan Davis plays him brilliantly. Sadly, Caroline Quinton, who is the first companion or assistant, however you want to call her, didn't carry on the series with Alan Davis, so that they go through a few different assistants. And the final one I'm not so sure about. I won't spoil who she is because, yeah, in case you want to watch it all. So the newer ones are my favourite, so definitely start from the beginning with Jonathan Creek and enjoy the kind of the 90s madness. And it's just very quirky, very kooky, this show, and I just love it. And I never work out the locked room mysteries, so it's always fun to see how outrageous the solution to the murders always is. Okay, so next up we have a historical cozy crime for you guys, and that is Granchester. So that is set in a Cambridgeshire village called Granchester in the 1950s, and it is about a vicar solving crimes. Because obviously a vicar would solve crimes. No, that is what makes it cozy. So we have Sydney Chambers as the vicar, who works alongside a detective inspector to solve crimes, because a lot of people share things with him as a vicar that they don't share with the police, and he just somehow gets involved with all these crimes. What I love about the show is, well, they have actually changed the main vicar in it, the main actor in it. But at the start, it is James Norton as Sydney Chambers, as the vicar who solves crimes, and I just love him. If you have read my Glendale Hall's women's fiction series of books, you will know, or you might not know, but you will know now, that Brodie, the minister in Glendale, is actually based on James Norton as Sydney Chambers. He definitely inspired the looks and the kind of feel of the character Brodie, although Brodie is has a lot less issues and demons than Sydney Chambers does. That's the only thing with this show. It's still cozy because obviously it's about a vicar solving crimes. It's set in a really picturesque place, and they always solve the crime and everything. It's just slightly darker than some of the other picks on my list, because Sydney has a lot of demons, there's drinking, gambling, relationships, some violence in it, but obviously it's nowhere near as dark as like some of the other kind of police procedural detective shows. So I would still call it cozy, but if you're looking for something that's really not serious at all, it might not be your bag. But if you do watch it, definitely start from the beginning with James Norton. I like the new vicar, but not as much. I'm sorry, James Norton in Granchester just has my heart. So yeah, definitely start from the beginning if you'd like to watch it and enjoy a vicar solving crimes. So I couldn't not include my favourite murder mystery writer on this list, which is Agatha Christie. I'm going with Marple as my pick, just because I have watched them more than Poirot, and the newer Agatha Christie adaptations on the BBC, they've made them a lot kind of darker and more modern and more like a twist on Agatha Christie. So if you want a very cozy Agatha Christie, then the ITV Marple series is the way to go. So I think they did about 6 seasons on there, and I think it's on ITV Hub and probably BritBox as well. So that's the series with Geraldine McEwen and Julia Mackenzie playing Marple, who, as we know, is a sort of old lady living in a quaint village who just somehow ends up solving crimes. If you are a diehard Agatha Christie fan, you might not enjoy it because they have basically changed a lot of the Marple books around. They also do stories that Marple doesn't actually feature in the books. They've changed some endings and things like that. But again, if you want to watch a show where you don't know who the killer is or you're not sure what's going to happen, then this is great because they have kind of twisted it around a bit. But they've kept very faithful to the cozy vibe. The actresses that play Marple are great, and it's just got that really like historical cozy world that you can just snuggle up in and enjoy. So yeah, that's definitely more cozy than the newer Agatha Christie adaptations on the BBC for sure. So yes, if you're looking for traditional kind of Marple, then that's the series to go for. So next up is my show that is cozy but isn't cozy, because it's actually about the police, but it gets away with it because it is set in a very picturesque place, and it is a just very happy, cheerful, cozy show, despite there being murders, despite it being about the police. So the police in this actually can do their jobs and solve crimes, which does not usually happen in a cozy murder mystery, as we've discovered. But that is Death in Paradise. Now, I just had to include it because I just love this show. And as I said, it is set in a Caribbean island. So that's what makes it kind of cozy, and you get to know the detectives. And although it's about murder, it's never dark, it's never depressing or grim or anything. It definitely is still kind of cheerful as murder can be. So I'm including it on my cozy list. So I actually started watching this not that long ago on Netflix and watched the whole thing, and then I watched the new series, you know, in live time on BBC. So I think it's still all on Netflix. It's probably on iPlayer and BritBox as well. It's definitely worth watching. So it's always about a lead detective on the island, and they have changed the main character. But for once, I feel like it's worked really well, and I actually like them all for different reasons. I mean, I do absolutely love Ben Miller as an actor, just full stop. So he's probably still my favourite. He's like the first actor. But I really like Chris Marshall in it as well. And the new one, Ralph Little, is really good. But I have enjoyed them all. So yeah, don't worry about that. But yeah, just be aware that the main characters and some of the other police officers do chop and change through the years. But you get to enjoy the lovely Caribbean sunshine and landscape and watch them solve a murder. What more can you want, really? And I think there's, no, are we on series? I think we're on series 9. So there are a lot of cozy crime episodes to watch if you haven't already. So yeah, it has to go on my list, even though it is about the police. Now, I'm including the next series, but I'm a bit worried that you might struggle to find it streaming at the moment, because I have actually taken it off Netflix, which is a shame because that's where I watched it. But it might still be on Netflix in other countries, but UK Netflix have currently taken it off, which is a real shame, because my next pick is another historical cozy crime, and it is set in the 1920s in Australia, and it is Miss Fisher Investigates. So I love this one because the 1920s is just so fabulous and glamorous to watch on TV. And obviously we've got Marple, but apart from Marple, this is the kind of only female-led cozy crime TV show. So I love that. It is about kind of, well, she is quite kind of rich, glamorous, flapper style, a woman called Phryne Fisher, who becomes a private detective, and it is obviously all about the crimes that she investigates, her friends, her dealings with the police as well, who aren't quite as hapless as some of the cozy crime police. I think there's 3 seasons, and they've actually made like a feature film, which I haven't watched yet, but I feel like I might need to buy the DVD of it. Let me know if you've seen it and if it's worth buying. But yeah, it's a really lovely show, and it's nice to be different. It's nice to see the 1920s, Australia, and the characters are just really great in it. So I hope you guys can find it somewhere. But if not, keep an eye out for it, and hopefully it will come back on Netflix soon. Okay, so we are ending with, I don't know, is this my favourite, or is Shakespeare and Hathaway my favourite? I feel like this might be my favourite just because it's the most cozy, the coziest, the most wholesome of the cozy crimes, and that is Father Brown. So this is also set in the 1950s and is also about a vicar. What is it about vicars solving crimes? Although he's not a vicar, he's a Catholic priest. It is set in a Cotswold village. What is it about the Cotswolds? My Murder Mystery is also set in the Cotswolds. So you get beautiful British countryside, you get a priest solving murders, you get his his friends all around him. There's just some great characters in it. You get to watch all the 1950s costumes, and you just get to curl up and get so cozy with this one. It is, yeah, it's definitely the most wholesome one. Like literally pretty much every episode ends with them all sitting around eating cake and drinking and sipping tea. I mean, what more could you want, guys? What more could you want? That's just life for me. So I love this show so much. It's just so silly. But that's what we want from a cozy crime TV show, I think, anyway. So I feel like you guys will like it. You've got to watch it. Again, although actually I don't think all the players are on iPlayer. I think for all the episodes you would have to pay for the BritBox. But the DVDs are very cheap on Amazon as well. So keep an eye out for that. I think that there's been 8 series so far, and they are bringing out a new series next year. It was delayed a bit because of coronavirus. So also what I love about the show is it stars Arthur Weasley from the Harry Potter films. I mean, does it get more cozy than that? I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. And he's just brilliant in the role as the kind of quite stout, shall we say, Father Brown, who, although he's a Catholic priest, he does kind of have an affinity to the darker sides of life, and he quite enjoys investigating a murder, and people confess things to him like they do in Granchester. They went to the police. The police officers in this one is just ridiculous. Like, they're just completely hopeless. They always pick the wrong murderer, and Father Brown has to be like, no, you picked the wrong guy or girl. And but that's just the fun of crazy crime, isn't it? We like to enjoy the police just getting things wrong and our amateur detective getting things right. That's what we like, that's what we enjoy. So yeah, a very typical, very British, very cozy show, very wholesome. So definitely, if you're in the mood for that kind of thing, Father Brown is the one to watch. So there we go. Those were my favourite cozy murder mystery TV shows for you guys. I really hope you enjoyed my recommendations. Give this video a thumbs up if you did. And also let me know in the comments, have you seen any of these shows? Are some of these shows your favourites? Or have I inspired you to go and watch one? I would love to know. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, I would love you to come and subscribe to my channel. We're so close to 500 subscribers, so it'd be awesome to hit that milestone. And if you do like murder mysteries, I will leave my book in the description box below in case you would like to do a cheeky pre-order. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying this sunshine, and I hope that I will see you very soon for a new video. Take care, look after yourselves, and thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.